Out here we try to read the hand of Rajneesh, Osho, and what we find here, the most significant thing which we see is that the lifeline and the headline both are joined for such a long duration of time. Whenever the lines are joined for such a long duration of time, it means that the person is highly cautious and hardworking, and they succeed sometime in the later part of their life. If they're joined for such a long duration of time, we can say sometime after the age of 44 or 45, but in his case, he succeeded sometime after the age of 39 or 40. That's the time he made his mark. And such people are not outgoing kind of people, and they are basically shy. And if the lines were separate, if the lifeline and the headline was separate, it would have meant that they are basically rash. We could also say that if these both the lines are together for such a long duration of time, it could also mean a person is conservative. But in his case, we don't find it to be true. We also find that the heart line, this is the heart line, and it is somewhere nearing to the head and the lifeline. It's nearly joining into it. So this is the heart line we are referring to. It's starting somewhere out here. So whenever the heart line is joined to the headline, it means that the person has misplaced affections. He's affectionate to somebody who is not worth his affection, and he may be cheated, or his affections might put him into trouble. So what we find is that his relations were not trustworthy, and they somehow cheated him. What we also find is that the other significant thing is that the person has while lascavia line, these lines which we see out here, sometimes these lines are something like this, sometimes they are like this. So in his case, what we see is that the lines are the lascavia lines are like this. They're nearly connecting the mount of Venus to the mount of Moon, and it basically is considered to be sister lines to the line of Mercury, and strong line of Mercury, and a sister line besides it. If the line was something like this and this, then that's what I'm referring. This is the Mercury line, and this is the lascavia line. The subject would have a superabundance of vitality and good health, and would work off a good part of it in feeling or show openly. It can mean sexual interest or desires or practice. It could also mean that the surplus energy in the sphere of activity in which type the hand is placed him, it would make them better. A soft hand, if supposing the hand was very soft and the full mount of Venus was there, if the mount of Venus was highly prominent, and this line was present, the lascavia line was present, it would mean the pleasure-loving subject will devote himself to pleasure and will pursue it regardless of cost, in terms of money or in terms of consequences. So if this line is seen, calculate carefully the appetite of the subject and the likelihood that he will be led where pleasure calls him, and it could prove fatal and harmful or bad to his career. It may also indicate that when someone pays too much attention to sex, these lines might mean a person is paying too much attention to sex, lascavia lines, and It may indicate a behavior that is morally impure or unacceptable in sexual sense. It may indicate open and public indecency, tendency to corrupt the morals of the society or community. It could also mean indecency in sexual relations. It may indicate just openness. It may also indicate excessive or offensive sexual desire or lustfulness. So, this is what the line says, but depending upon different shapes of the palm and the texture of the skin and many more things, we have to take everything into account and then finally come to a conclusion. But this is what the lascavia line tells us. So if you do like the video, click on the like button. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe.